place for quick summaries of movies with jaw-dropping twists. Let's dive in. The movie begins in China in 1868, during one of the most difficult times for the Chinese people. At that time, corruption was rampant in the country, prostitution and human slavery had increased, and it was as if there were no laws. Anyone who dared to report the gangs would be killed, and their bodies thrown into the sea. The story takes us to a port controlled by two rival gangs, the Black Panther Gang and the North Sea Gang. Both gangs exploited the townspeople like slaves. The Black Panther Gang not only controlled the port, but also ran brothels, gambling tables, and drug trafficking. Each operation was managed by one of the three Panthers, and the gang was led by Master Lee. Master Lee was looking to recruit a fourth Panther to take over some of the gang's operations. He summoned a group of strong warriors who had worked for the Black Panther Gang for over 5 years. Among these warriors was Fei. When the warriors met Master Lee, he was interrogating a traitor and killed him in front of them for refusing to talk. Master Lee then suddenly raised a hot iron rod towards the warriors, causing them all to step back, except for Fei. When Lee asked why Fei didn't retreat like the others, Fei replied, "Because I'm not afraid." Lee asked why he wasn't afraid, and Fei answered, "Because there's nothing to fear." Lee laughed and began to admire Fei. Master Lee prepared a small test for the warriors. He handed each one a cup and poured hot tea from a kettle that had been boiling for an hour. The first warrior couldn't endure the heat and gave up. The second warrior also failed and dropped the cup to the ground. When it was Fei's turn, he endured the heat, even as his hand turned red, showing no expression on his face. He drank the tea and placed the empty cup down. After the test, Master Lee explained why he had gathered them and tasked them with killing the leader of the North Sea Gang. He declared that whoever brought him the leader's head would become his fourth son and take over the gang's operations. Master Lee understood that this mission would spark hostility between the two gangs, despite the peace treaty that existed between them. However, he was prepared for the consequences. The next day, Fei went alone to the North Sea Gang's headquarters. After defeating the leader's men, he faced the North Sea Gang leader in a fierce battle. Fei showcased his exceptional combat skills, dodging the leader's attacks, landing powerful blows, and eventually overpowering him. Fei pushed the leader onto a sword, cutting off his head to fulfill Master Lee's request. Fei carried the leader's head in a cloth bag, but as he was leaving, he found himself surrounded by over 100 gang members. Despite the odds, Fei fought bravely, breaking through windows and escaping to the street. But the men regrouped and surrounded him again. Tying the cloth with the leader's head to his belt, Fei charged at them courageously. Although he managed to defeat several of them, he was eventually overwhelmed and captured. Before they could kill him, one of Fei's friends intervened by setting off fireworks, distracting the North Sea Gang members. Fei's friends rescued him and returned to the Black Panther Gang's headquarters. Fei was unconscious, and Master Lee wanted to take the leader's head from him. However, Fei held on to it tightly, refusing to let go. Impressed by Fei's determination, Master Lee declared him his fourth son, saying none of his other three sons could have accomplished what Fei did. He ordered that Fei be treated for his injuries and that the North Sea leader's head be displayed at the port as a warning to show which gang was stronger. Fei eventually regained consciousness, and the story delves into his past. As a child, Fei used to walk with his father and see orphans living on the streets, their families killed by gangs. One day, Fei's father rescued a fainted boy and treated him at home. Fei also had a close friend named Chow, whom he loved dearly. One day, Chow was kidnapped by a member of the Black Panther Gang to be sold into prostitution. Fei and his friends tried to rescue her, but failed. The man who kidnapped Chow turned out to be Master Lee. Fei's father confronted Lee to rescue Chow, but was unable to find her. Lee retaliated by burning down Fei's father's house, which sheltered orphans. Fei's father saved the children, but perished in the fire. From that moment, Fei vowed to avenge his father and rescue Chow. He and his brother Fairy trained in martial arts under a monk who was a friend of their father. Fei's determination for revenge grew stronger, and he eventually joined the Black Panther Gang to carry out his plan. When he saw his father's head, he vowed to take revenge and destroy the Black Panther Gang. And we return to Fei, who became the fourth Panther in the Black Panther Gang, and he had to do a certain ritual after he became one of the gang leaders, and he draws a panther tattoo on his back. And the person who draws the tattoo on him was talking a lot and sat giving him information about the Black Panther Gang and told him about the gang's safe that does not open except with two keys, a golden key and a silver key. And each key is with one of the three Panthers, and specifically with the two who make the gang the most money. And these two are the Black Crow, who controls the gambling and betting business, and the second is the Snake, who controls the prostitution and human enslavement. And after Fei's tattoo was finished, he went to offer loyalty and obedience to his teacher, and he officially became the fourth Panther. And the first mission that he was assigned by his teacher was to gather his men and lead them to confront the North Sea men and eliminate all their men and not leave a single one of them alive, so that the Black Panthers could impose their control over the North. Faye's victory over the North Sea gang solidified the Black Panther gang's control over the port. However, the leader of the North Sea gang, Long, managed to escape during the chaos. Faye's bravery earned him fear and respect from everyone. At night, Faye went fishing and gave the fish he caught to a poor man who turned out to be his brother, Ferry. Ferry took the fish to the orphan children he cared for and reunited with his wife, Lynn, who had grown up with them. Ferry then began gathering his men for their next move, and he tells them, "We are the orphans gang that will take down the Black Panther gang." At night, they all discover that there's a pot entering the Black Panther gang's territory. While sleeping, he dreams of his deceased father and his kidnapped girlfriend, Xiao. That night, he spent time in a brothel with that girl. After that, he goes to the Black Panther gang as they were hosting a small celebration. During the gathering, it becomes clear that the third Panther, named Northern Devil, utterly despises him. He senses this and mocks Northern Devil, causing all the gang members to laugh at him. Northern Devil strikes him with his cane, but he remains calm and mocks him again, making the Black Crow laugh. Northern Devil gets angry and shouts, "What are you laughing at?" The two nearly fight, but the Master intervenes and calms them down. The next day, he sits with Master Lee, who meets foreign contraband dealers. This time, the dealers demand that Master Lee kidnap 300 workers to send abroad for testing new contraband on them. They tell him, they tell him, "In return, we'll give you 5 shipments of contraband." Despite the difficulty of the task, Master Lee agrees. He then sits with Master Lee and asks, "Are you really going to kidnap 300 workers and hand them over to the foreigners?" Master Lee responds, "Don't be so soft-hearted. We have more than enough workers here." He asks, "And what will they do to the workers?" Master Lee replies, "They'll make them work and test the new contraband on them. Anyone who refuses will be killed. To be a leader like me, you need to have a heart of stone. Over time, you'll understand that there's no difference between humans and ants. They both work just to eat." Master Lee orders his men to deceive and kidnap the poor workers. We see someone telling the workers, "I found a job and got a silver ingot." The workers ask, "Where is this job?" The man replies, "Follow me." They follow him, but it's a trap. The workers are kidnapped so Master Lee can hand them over to the foreign dealers. Later, we see him return to the brothel, where he meets the same girl, who turns out to be Xiao, his childhood love. He begins sharing secrets about the Black Panther gang with her, including details about a safe that requires 2 keys to open. He gives her a message to deliver to his brother, Veery. Xiao goes to Lin and gives her the message from him, which reaches Veery. The message states that the boss with the golden key will be in the market tomorrow. He instructs them to attack him with their gang and make a copy of the key. The next day, Veery keeps an eye on the boss and whistles, gathering the orphan gang around him. Veery throws a knife at the boss, but it misses. The boss orders his men to chase Veery, but one of the orphans steals a silver pouch from the boss's pocket and throws it to Lin. The snake chases Lin to retrieve the silver pouch. Lin lures him to a specific spot and pours boiling oil on him. The orphans gang fights the snake's men. Veery taunts the snake, saying, "You're just a snake. You're not even worth being called a worm." He attacks him, and the orphans gang finishes him off. They tie him up with sticks. Veery says, "Leave him to me. I'll finish him off now." He stabs him and kills the snake, stealing the golden key and making a copy. They return the original key to the boss. Later, the orphans gang throws the boss's body and his men's bodies at the port. Master Lee finds out everything that happened. His assistant tells him, "Thankfully, the golden key wasn't stolen." Master Lee takes the golden key and gives it to Northern Devil, telling him and the Black Crow to be responsible for the keys to the safe. The boss didn't suspect anything, and Northern Devil thanks him for his trust. At night, he goes fishing and secretly gives the fish to Veery, along with the golden key to continue their plan. He then goes to the Black Crow's gambling den. He decides to gamble and bet, but he loses. He borrows money from the den and bets again, but loses once more. He borrows a third time and bets, losing again. The Black Crow notices what's happening. He keeps borrowing until he owes 1,000 silver coins. He intentionally loses and goes to the Black Crow, asking to borrow another 3,000 silver coins. The Black Crow says, "Borrow again? Pay the 1,000 you owe first. I could kill you for the money you owe, and my father wouldn't blame me." Then he pulls out the golden key copy, shocking the Black Crow. The Black Crow asks, "Where did you get this?" He replies, "I caught a thief who had made a copy of it." That thief worked for Northern Devil. The Black Crow says, I had a feeling Northern Devil wanted to steal the safe. He must have killed the boss. He responds, yes, it seems like his name matches his actions. He might even plan to kill you next. Look, you already have the silver key. If you take the golden key, you'll have both and can access the safe freely. My advice is to stab Northern Devil in the back before he does the same to you. If you don't want the key, I'll give it to Master Li. The Black Crow stops him, saying, wait, I'll take the key. But first, you need to come with me to test the key and open the safe. He smiles because this is exactly what he wanted, to find the safe's location. The Black Crow takes him to the safe, guarded by 3 men. They enter the safe, which is filled with silver, all taken from the poor people's hard work. After memorizing the location, he goes fishing and gives the fish to Viri. Inside the fish, there's a message. Viri opens the message with Lin. It contains the safe's location and all its details, instructing them to rob it. The next night, Master Li takes him to the weapons warehouse, intentionally without any guards. This is to lure Long, the son of the North Sea leader, into trying to kill them. The plan works, and Long and his men appear. A battle begins. He fights Long, who is determined to kill him to avenge his father. Meanwhile, Li fights Long's men. Despite his age, Li is still a ninja. Long keeps attacking him with a sword, tearing his clothes. Eventually, he grabs a sword and fights back. The battle is intense and evenly matched, though Long has a slight advantage due to his desire for revenge. They break a window and continue fighting in the street. At this time, the Black Tiger's men appeared and fought Long's men. Long was controlling his fight with Fei to the point that he was about to kill him, but Fei reached him and took the blow to his back instead of Fei. Fei returned to attack Long and cut off his hand, and Long completely surrendered, and Fei raised the sword to his heart, not wanting to kill him, and said to him, there is no reason to kill you for him, but Li interfere and make him kill. Long, on the other hand, Veri started the plan, and he and the orphan gang went to set fire to the gambling halls and brothels, and they walked the girls there first and set fire to the place. And when Li sees the fire from afar while it is lit, and he is very upset and passes by it to see what is happening and take action. But of course, Fei does not listen to him and goes to complete the plan and goes to Lilin, who lured the Black Crow to a far place. And many men from the orphan gang appear. And the Black Crow understands everything and says, what is it? You traitor, you are the one behind everything that happened. And Lilin says to the Black Crow, remember my father and mother whom you killed because they refused to work for you? Today I will finally get their rights and the rights of all the orphans. And Fei closes the door and kills the Black Crow and takes from him the silver key that he had. But unfortunately, at the same time, the Black Panther gang was chasing Veri, and they were able to corner him, and Veri had no chance of escaping. However, Veri proved his bravery and fought them, killing a large number of them until, in the end, his gang men outnumbered him and arrested him. They took him to Leader Li. When Fei returns to the Black Panther gang, he is shocked when he sees Veri hanging. Li was responding and wanted to know who was colluding with him. Veri tells Long, don't waste your time with me. My gang is currently robbing your safe. Indeed, Lin and the orphans gang break into the safe, now having both keys. They distribute all the silver to the townspeople. When Li hears this from Veri, he doesn't believe it. He rushes to check for himself, and he says to me, make that dog confess who he's working with. He takes his men and leaves. Meanwhile, there was someone who wanted to free Feri and escape. He says to him, I can't watch you die and not save you. But Feri responds, stop, you fool. You're going to ruin everything we've built. The plan must go on no matter what, and we must save the 300 workers. If necessary, I'll sacrifice myself for the plan to succeed and for us to achieve our dream. Feri notices someone entering the place and loudly shouts, I won't confess, worker, about what we did. Then Li storms in angrily after confirming the entire safe had been stolen. He starts suspecting there's a traitor in the gang because the location of the safe was a very secret place known only to the 3 Panthers. Before he could think about the matter, he's hit with a major shock when his men bring him the body of the Black Crow. The Northern Devil arrives at the scene, and Li is even more shocked when he finds the Northern Devil's staff mark on the Black Crow's body. But it turns out to be a misunderstanding because the mark was made during a party when the Northern Devil's staff accidentally hit the Black Crow, leaving the same mark. This makes Master Li suspect the Northern Devil killed the Black Crow. The Northern Devil is shocked and says to Master Li, I didn't kill him. There were differences between us, but I'd never kill him. However, Li doesn't believe him. The Northern Devil then goes to Feri, draws his sword on him, and demands, tell me who the traitor in the gang is. But Fairy cleverly whispers something in the Northern Devil's ear before sacrificing himself by impaling himself on the Northern Devil's sword. Li stands in shock over his brother's death. Master Li, having seen Fairy whisper something to the Northern Devil, grows more suspicious that he might be the traitor. He demands, "What did he tell you before he died?" The Northern Devil, now losing his mind, insists, "He didn't tell me anything." Li takes his men and leaves, sparing the Northern Devil. Li recalls 5 years ago when he and Fairy were planning the operation. He gave Fairy 2 staffs, one small and one large, and told him, "Choose one. If you choose the small staff, you'll stay with the people outside, and I'll infiltrate the gang." Fairy chose the smaller staff, and Li told him, "I knew that you will choose to stay with the people while I go inside the gang." Fairy agreed. And now Li stands in shock over his brother's death. The next day, Li was at Xiao's brothel, crying over Fairy's death. Xiao tries to console him, saying, "You must continue with the plan." Li agrees, saying, "You're right. We must get rid of the Northern Devil and Master Li." But the plan is ruined because the Northern Devil and Master Li were supposed to eliminate each other. Now I don't know how to fight both of them. Xiao, trying to calm him, says she has a plan but refuses to share it with Li. Later, Master Li asks Li to accompany him to meet foreign drug dealers, as he plans to sell them the 300 workers next week. Li goes with him and discovers where the 300 workers are being held, seeing them locked up in cages like animals. Meanwhile, the Northern Devil goes to relax and get a massage. 2 women approach, claiming they have important information about the stolen safe. These 2 women turn out to be Xiao and Lin. They are let in to see the Northern Devil. The Northern Devil recognizes Xiao and says, "Aren't you the girl who always—" Xiao interrupts, saying, "That's why I came to you, because he told me before, without realizing it, about how he betrayed the gang and killed the Black Crow and the Toad." The Northern Devil replies, "I've always suspected Li, and now I'm sure of it." Xiao tries to gain his trust, saying she can help him kill Li and ensure his safety. But the Northern Devil is not easily deceived. He captures Xiao and strangles her to death. He then turns to the other woman and asks, "And who are you?" Lin quickly stabs the Northern Devil with a knife and escapes. She goes to Li and tells him everything that happened. Li is devastated because the love of his life sacrificed herself and died. Now 2 of Li's friends have died. Li gathers all the orphans gang and tells them it's time to revolt against the Black Panther gang. He calls on them to unite with the city's residents to overthrow the Black Panther gang. They send messages to all the workers and townspeople, urging them to join the uprising, informing them about the 300 kidnapped workers who are to be sold to foreigners. Li takes his men to the location where the 300 workers are held. No one can stop them, and they successfully free the workers. The 300 workers decide to fight alongside Li. Master Li learns what happened and realizes Li is the traitor. Furious, he declares, "Whoever brings me Li's head will be my only son." Meanwhile, Li takes his men to a remote location to train them in Kung Fu. Master Li's men, in their desperation to find Li, begin killing innocent people. Days pass, and Master Li's men still can't find Li. Suddenly, Li and his men appear, heading toward Master Li's mansion. Li's forces are numerous enough to annihilate all of Master Li's men, but Li doesn't want unnecessary bloodshed. He challenges Master Li to a one-on-one duel. Master Li immediately accepts, and the 2 enter a warehouse alone. Before the fight begins, Li sets the place on fire, ensuring that if he loses, Master Li won't leave alive. He tells him, "I want to kill you, just like you killed my father." Amidst the flames, the duel begins. Master Li attacks with all his might, hitting Li with a wheel kick, but Li doesn't flinch. He fights back with equal strength. The fire intensifies as their battle moves to the upper levels. Li gains the upper hand, driven by his determination to defeat Master Li. He leaps into the air and strikes, but Master Li blocks the attack. Li nearly falls but skillfully regains his footing and continues the fight. In the end, endurance decides the battle. Master Li, overwhelmed by the heat, can no longer keep up. Li lands a series of blows to his face and body, then delivers a powerful kick, almost knocking Master Li into the fire. But Li catches him, refusing to let him die. Master Li's pride, however, won't allow him to be saved by Li, and falls into the fire and died burned. Outside, the Black Tiger gang flees after they know that their master died. After that, the city got rid of corruption and injustice, and peace spread in the city. Fai opened a school to teach Kung Fu, and Fai became the leader of the entire city. With this, we have reached the end of the episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.